In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about a hippo wearing a hat, a realistic description of Seattle, and more villainous, chiseled cheekbones in our discussion of The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult, and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that's full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
Yay. Well done.
Thank you. I panicked because I couldn't scroll down to see what's next, and then I just went into a panic.
I always think it's amazing when you know you are a subject matter expert, and then somebody asks you like the most basic question. You're like, a hippo wearing a hat?
Yes, a hippo wearing a hat is now the answer to everything.
Yes, it is. All throughout. Who's your favourite character? The hippo wearing a hat.
Yes. 1,000 times yes.
Anywho, are there any hippos and hats in your background information? I bet there's not.
No. Zero hippos in hats. But you know, there is the potential for a hippo in a hat.
It might not have been written yet.
It might not be written yet. The background info that I have is from genebooknerd.com, and the question is asked, what do you hope for readers to be thinking when they read your novel? And A.J. Hackwith said, which I would just like to say that her name is Amanda, and I just want to call her Amanda. But A.J. is on the cover of the book. A.J. says, I want them to feel at home in the library. The Library of the Unwritten is a bit of a love letter to readers, to dusty library corners and reading itches you just can't scratch. It's my ode to scratched out sentences and fear of failure. It's my promise to half-filled notebooks, and that fear that you're just too old and that it's too late. It's not.
Oh, I like that.
It's not so good.
I do.
Yeah.
Do you know what else I like?
What? Your initial thought?
No, this is an additional to my initial thought. My initial thought is, I finally finished this book.
Yay!
Oh, not for want, but life, etc. got in the way.
Of course.
And I finally read it. What I love is the fact that the author's called Amanda and the main character's called Claire.
I know, it's adorable, isn't it?
So I'm like, hang on. Have we broke the Matrix?
We have. Oh.
What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are that I know in my heart of hearts, and for years and years, that this is one that you've been wanting to read. So I was finally able to, I was happy that we're able to enjoy it together.
Yes, that is adorable.
Yeah.
If anybody is on my Goodreads follow list, and I'll happily follow anybody on Goodreads. I like to see what other people are reading. It's very interesting. You will see that this has been on there for
since it came out?
5 years. Yeah, pretty much. I did wipe that off because I restarted it and put it in for this read through. Yeah. But yeah, I'm so glad I finally got to read it, and I'm so glad I actually enjoyed it. The worry was real.
That would have been a bummer. That would have been a real letdown. That really would have been a hippo in a hat.
That would be a sad hippo wearing a sad hat, and the hat would be like one of those wicker ones with a floppy hat with a floppy flower, and the flower would be dead.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I assigned that negativity to the hippo in the hat just then, but
You know what? Hippos have got emotions as well. Sometimes it can have a sad day, and if you're feeling sad one day, that's fine. You're allowed to feel those emotions.
Yeah.
Including hippos.
Yeah. Yes, emotional hippos.
Yes. Let's go into the summary because it's getting late now.
Yeah. When books grow restless, unruly, or real, they run, and it is the librarian's job to catch them. In Hell's unwritten wing of the library, one book has taken form and escaped. The librarian, Claire, has cornered a book in the form of a pale, cultish girl, and it is begging not to be sent back. Claire's assistant, Brevity, a sprite-like creature who failed to be a muse, hands Claire a scalpel, which she pockets. Claire tries to reason with the girl. Her author is still alive, and she must go back to the book, either of her own accord or if her pages are damaged. That feels like a threat to me.
It's a threat and a promise.
The girl touches the pages, but she doesn't return. So Claire uses the scalpel, and the girl turns to ink. Now the situation is resolved. Brevity informs Claire that someone is here to see her from the big guy.
The messenger, a human-adjacent entropy demon called Leto, is sweating bullets. His grinchiness is reporting a missing book by an early 21st century author who is still living. The book has escaped and gone looking for its author in Seattle. Fetching her tools of the trade and filling her pockets with them, Claire closes the library. With Leto and Brevity following, Claire heads back to the library to a large card catalogue to retrieve the book's calling card. With the book title Nightfall, author's name Genevieve McGowan, in hand and confirmation the book is still in Seattle, it's time for a field trip.
Inside the librarian's log is the solution to Leto's problem, though for now he follows the head librarian and Brevity through the library into an office where he is fully expected to join them on their quest. Walter, an overly dramatic giant, provides them with summoning candles called ghost lights and a pass to up top. Walter pulls down a jar filled with mist, intending to set them down at the base of the Space Needle. He twists the lid off the jar, upending it over Brevity. Brevity disappears first, leaving Claire and Leto standing in the middle of the room. But then the world drops, and painfully, Claire and Leto are pulled through reality to Seattle.
Leto looks at Brevity and Claire, notices Brevity has taken on a more human-like appearance, and he himself is more, squishy. Brevity hands them both their ghost-like candles disguised as lighters, which act as their passports to the mortal realm. Don't lose them, and don't give someone a light. These should keep them in the mortal realm for about a day. Because of their limited time and lots of ground to cover, Brevity asks if he can get a cab, and Claire agrees, sure she can afford the money they will need to pay for one. Claire spends the whole journey ripping paper from a book and making complicated folds she uses as payment. She hands the driver the folds of paper and gives him a story. The transaction doesn't sit right with Leto, but Claire tells him the story is still valuable.
I wish we could pay for things with stories.
I would fold paper and give stories for payment. That sounds brilliant.
Yeah. Following information on the calling card, whose information keeps changing, the trio begin looking for the leather-bound book, or person, that it's turned into. Either way, it will stand out. Claire spots the hero straight away, sitting in a coffee shop across from his author, definitely violating all the rules. Bloody heroes. Why couldn't it have been a damsel? Claire needs a distraction so she can separate the book from its author, so she turns to Brevity for a wild public display of drama.
Ramil, or Remy, is essentially an angelic TSE agent working in purgatory and is currently with the soul of an accountant declaring a piece of paper covered in Enochian black magic. This is definitely something that needs to be declared. So Remy takes it and the accountant to Uriel. The accountant answers Uriel's questions, but it turns out that the paper isn't a coupon or a shopping list. It's a page from the Devil's Bible. Easily mistaken.
Sure. Yeah, easily confused with a shopping list.
Yeah. Uriel then tasks Remy to collect the other pages. The creator has been pulling away, so Uriel and the other archangels have been stepping up in her place. One page of the Devil's Bible won't draw the creator back, but all of them certainly will. In exchange, Uriel will make sure Remy is seen by the creator and recommend that he be forgiven and able to come home.
Brevity's acting skills are top-notch, and Leto is awkward. But their classic display of public drama works to draw the author's attention. Claire sneaks up to the hero, her scalpel in hand, and Leto can see Claire angrily whispering to him. After their distraction ends with a kiss, Brevity and Leto meet up with Claire and the hero, who informs them that his book is hidden and he has no intention of going back to the shelves, and so he has come to inspire his author. The hero doesn't understand how his presence twists the author and the damage it's causing. At last, and with reluctance, the hero agrees to go with them and give them his book, but only if he can give Guinevere a proper goodbye. Claire's not happy about it and only agrees if he is stamped as an interworld loan. Using her blood as the ink, Claire stamps the hero's hand before giving him 20 minutes to say goodbye and fetch the book.
Eventually, the hero returns with his book in hand and gives it to Claire. As they begin to walk away, the hero mentions making a suitable comment to his author. Claire suddenly pulls the hero's arm and forces him into an alley, demanding to know what he did. Smugly, the hero admits he gave his author his opening pages. Despite the hero's argument that unwritten books should be allowed to meet their authors and inspire them and the pain of self-mutilation, he broke up with his author. Yeah, and now she's burning the pages.
Goddamn. Rami has transported to the accountant's apartment and starts searching for clues. Unfortunately, there's nothing. However, he has other methods. Using a silver compass and one of his own feathers, Rami creates a warning system for any demon that comes to or from the city. He just needs to wait. Good thing he's had a lot of practice doing that.
Claire asks Brevity to take Hero's book back to hell while she and Leto complete one more job. They walk to the pier as Claire explains what a ghost light is before she points out Leto isn't asking the right question. Why does a demon need a ghost light? As memories and feelings crash through Leto, he realises he was once human. When you die, you get what your soul's debt demands. Claire's decided she needed to be the librarian in hell, while Leto's soul chose an amnesiac demon. Leto can't remember anything before delivering the message to Claire, except the sense of being a demon.
As Claire and Leto are talking on the pier, Rami approaches and sticks a sharp blade between Leto's shoulder blades. Claire is unimpressed and explains who and what they are. With a sneer, Rami removes the blade and demands the book. Claire starts mocking the fallen angel about bodice rippers and coming to the library during open hours. But Rami has no sense of humor and shows them the page of the Devil's Bible he already has in a little baggie and demands the rest. Claire refuses to help because she protects all the books in her care. Leto, seeing Rami getting angry and not truly understanding what's going on, grabs the bag with the page from the Devil's Bible in it, and together he and Claire escape by jumping into the water where they pull out their ghost lights.
Claire and Leto land back in Walter's office. After a cup of tea, Claire spends hours restoring Hero's book, needing to find out why a fallen angel would be interested in an unwritten fantasy novel. Despite all her efforts to coax the words, the new pages stay infuriatingly blank, so she turns to the page Leto was able to take from Rami. Claire quickly realises that the page doesn't fit, the book rejecting it despite her efforts. When the book jerks, Claire loses her grip on the page and a wildfire of images flash through her mind. That page is definitely not from an unwritten book, nor is it a book of heaven. But hell has no literature of its own. The hero, waking up, distracts Claire's ruminations.
The hero is pale after his self-page mutilation and subsequent burning, but he has enough energy to sass Claire, so he must be on the mend. I love him so much. Claire tells him she needs him to help coax the words back to the beginning of his book, so he lays his hand on the pages and absolutely nothing happens because the book does not recognize him. Well, until his book does recognize him, Hero will stay in special collections. Perhaps they can call him Janitor instead.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, in the meantime, Claire and Leto head to the Arcanist to ask about the page that Raimi had. It's a long walk down hallways and stairs to the Arcane Wing, a giant dusty cabinet of curiosities. As they walk, Claire calls out for Andres, a former Archduke of Hell who led a rebellion and is now the resident Arcanist.
But he's also the demon that possessed the BFFs in my best friend's exorcism. I was like, oh my god, it's Andres! Oh my god!
But all I can see is that dumb-looking puppet demon thing from the Best Friend's Exorcism movie.
Yeah.
And that was ridiculous.
It was really bad. Sorry, I get excited when things cross over.
I'm with that. I'm totally with that. In this one, this demon appears from the shadows, and he's got like striped hair as well, like tiger stripe hair. He's an old man.
Yeah.
So he's got a look. He's got a look. Well, anywho, he appears from the shadows, and after introductions, Claire opens her bag, the page from the Devil's Bible dropping on the desk. Claire explains where they got it from, and Andres goes quiet. So quiet that Claire almost needs to force answers from him. Andres tells her it's indeed from the Devil's Bible, and that the humans would say a medieval monk made a deal with the devil to create a holy tome in a night, which is absolute rubbish. But there was a book created, and Lucifer claims ownership. Therefore, it is the Devil's Bible.
The book stayed unnoticed for centuries on Earth until something must have spooked Lucifer, and he ordered a replica to be made by their predecessors during some great human uprising, causing a fire. After the chaos of the fire, 10 pages of the original Devil's Bible went missing. But because the book is finished, it never would have made it into the Unwritten library. Orders from on high were not to go looking for the book, which is ridiculous to Claire. Claire snags the page and heads out of the arcane wing, screaming for the Morning Star. Andres manages to stop her. God, I love that scene. And she's like, hello, Lucifer, Morning Star. Giving him all of his names, just screaming for him in the hallway. He doesn't come, though, but it's fine. Anyway, Andres manages to stop her, which is good, because if it's reported to the court of hell that heaven had a page from the Devil's Bible, they would use it as an opportunity to pillage the library and get rid of them. Andres points out that they still have time on their ghost lights. However, the last time the book was seen, Bjorn the Bard was librarian, and his soul is now at rest in Valhalla. That means they must visit the Ravens.
Raimi expects more of an outburst from Uriel when he updates her on losing the artifact, having no leads, and, being bested by a human and a demon. Ooh. While all his faults are being listed, intimately, in detail, alphabetically and chronologically, Raimi realises that he can track the human soul through multiple realms. Uriel advises him to make preparations and mentions that if the librarian should get in the way, well, hell can't get its hands on the book.
Claire orders the library to be closed, which sends Brevity into a panic until Claire explains the seriousness of the situation. Claire asks Hero to help them to protect Brevity and Leto and make sure they are safely returned to the library. And in return, she will ask the Muses to be more focused with inspiring his author. If he chooses not to help, she could leave him in the damsel suite, where side characters have gained autonomy from their books because they are dissatisfied with their stories.
I want to
The Hero agrees to help the librarian. But I mean, come on. I would love to hang out with the damsels.
Oh, I love the damsels. So many of the side characters in stories are the best characters in the stories.
Definitely.
And they're all there.
Yeah.
Andrus is talking to Hulking Horrors, his new assistants, which Claire isn't pleased about because the library doesn't normally deal in torment or tormentors. Andrus takes them to a cage filled with Arlid's ravens. All they need to do is pull a feather, give the bird an important treasure, and run like the dickens after it. Simple! Andrus goes first, followed by Brevity, Hero, Leto, and Claire. As Leto runs after the raven, he can hear voices from his past, including his own. He arrives at Valhalla after Claire, not totally unconcerning, as the Raven Roads always change direction, but Leto's anxiety is high, and Brevity helps him recover.
Together, the group walks further into Valhalla, where they are met by Arlid, who calls them squishy. Claire announces that they're from Hell's library, and they're there to see Bjorn the Bard, but learns that they will need to pass a trial first. They all turn to their warrior, and though Hero isn't particularly happy about it, he agrees to fight, though Claire, as their leader, is also made to fight. Claire protests, but Bjorn the Bard comes along and declares they will fight with a tail. Ooh.
Before entering the arena, Bjorn demands Claire put her notes away for the battle, down a glass of mead of poetry, and enter the battleground where their fights take place at the same time. Hero will fight a huge and extremely intimidating beast, but Claire needs to concentrate on her own battle in which she and Bjorn will throw quotes at each other and identify their author. Despite a good fight, Bjorn wins their battle. The quote he uses to wrap Claire tightly, forcing her to concede, is one she is unable to identify. Written by Claire Juniper Hadley. Hey, hang on. That's rude, using your own words against you.
Damn it. Sneaky.
Oof.
Sitting, sipping tea in Bjorn's study, Claire accuses him of cheating. How dare he quote an unwritten author? Never mind quoting her. But considering she helped Hero win his battle by throwing a quote at his opponent, they're pretty much even. Anyway, they have a feast to prepare for now, and they've learned that 2 angelic visitors will be joining them. Worried, Claire tells Bjorn they will need to leave, but Bjorn warns her that it would be a bad idea because the angels will be watching. So instead, she needs to relax, enjoy the feast, and let everyone recover. And in the morning, he'll answer her questions. In the feast hall, Brevity and the others, minus Hero, who is with the healers, have already staked out a table, and Claire warns them that there are angels there. Against Bjorn's suggestion, Claire makes plans for a rescue, Viking napping, and to have a conversation with an angel.
Rami is enjoying the ale, Vikings always make a good drink, while scanning the room for exits and Hell's contingent. Uriel is not making any friends at the door. She obviously dislikes the Vikings and their revelry, and frankly, they're not particularly happy with her snobbishness either. Claire knocks her tankard against Rami's as he is lost staring into it. Andrus comes over too, and he is clearly a demon. Claire asks Rami questions, but he's not evasive, just awkward and annoying. Claire warns Rami that the book is under Hell's protection, and Heaven has no claim on it. Rami heads to Uriel and lets her know about his interaction with Claire and Andrus. Uriel wants to capture the Hell contingent and trusts they will go somewhere in Valhalla they shouldn't, and that the eyes of Valhalla aren't watching.
I don't know how long it took for me to absolutely despise Uriel, but this is one of those scenes.
Oh, first conversation.
Yeah. But it just gets worse every time she shows up.
Every single one. Exponentially worse.
Claire and Andras head to Bjorn's study, where they hear Hero bothering Bjorn long before they see him. Brevity and Leto are also in the study. Claire wants answers and learns that Bjorn was tasked to find the book. He and the Arcanist then used magic to create a calling card for it, which he claims to no longer have in the clutter he has accumulated. There aren't library means to track the book, but it's a book of the realms, so there are other ways to find it. Claire will need to give up her books in favor of the old ways and listen for the song of the book. It's risky, very risky, but Claire agrees, handing all the tools of her trade she must relinquish to Brevity.
Hell's contingent, a human, demon, book, and muse, are sitting at a feasting table drinking while Claire leaves with Bjorn to learn the location of the book. The only thing she finds out is that it's somewhere in the Mediterranean, and Claire will still need to listen for its song. As they debate travel arrangements, Uriel makes a dramatic entrance, spurring them to hurry. Andras stays behind to run interference as the others follow Bjorn. Brevity will return to Hell to look after the books, while the rest take a boat to leave Valhalla. They're able to row far enough that Rami and Uriel aren't able to get them when they reach the shore.
Brevity lands back in the library and apprehensively opens the library up. She isn't confident. She'd always worked with Claire, but now she needs to take charge. One of the damsels, Aurora, finds Brevity. She says she heard something in the library, something that doesn't belong. Brevity locates a ledger and orders the books to execute a full inventory. She'll find out what's going on soon.
Claire wakes on a Mediterranean beach, possibly Malta. She checks that she still has the book's calling card before trying to listen for its song. She can hear it, but only faintly. Unfortunately, Leto let Hero leave with his book while she was unconscious because he said he was going to get supplies. That was a blatant lie, so Claire chases after him. When they return to Leto, Andras has joined them. Claire listens for the book song again and knows it's on the island, but it's difficult to pinpoint where. Spotting a tour bus, they decide it will be the best option to search the island, and Leto has an idea on how they can pay for their ride. He just needs to borrow Hero's smile.
Hero is humiliated, but he manages to sweet-talk the ticket seller onto the tour bus. Claire listens for the book's song and can feel it in Mdina, the silent city. As they search, Claire complains that it just doesn't feel right. The song feels muffled. They're approached by someone who asks if they want a tour of antiquities and rare books, curated by someone called Miss McAllister. Suspicious. Oh yes, but, they're just out of options. They pile into a horse-drawn carriage, and their guide takes them deeper into the old city. As they go, Claire can hear the book and its calling card and confirms they're drawing near. Their guide leaves them, which makes this definitely feel like a trap.
Yup. A bodyguard steps out from the shadows, but gestures Hell's contingent down a dark hallway into a brightly lit, cluttered study. Ms. McAllister is standing, reading a book, and she looks familiar to Leto, but he can't place her. Hero says, "Warden?" when he sees her. Claire, however, reaches into Hero's coat and pulls out his pistol, firing it into Miss McAllister. Dark black liquid blooms from her throat as Claire orders the room locked. Yeah, the book's definitely here.
I love that she just pulls out a gun.
Amazing. It was
shoots her
amazing.
right in the throat.
Just kills her dead right in the throat with
no
a bullet.
questions.
No questions. Love it. No notes. Perfection.
Rami and Uriel are on the lakeshore in Valhalla. Uriel orders Rami to track Hell's contingent while she has other business to conduct. Eventually, they reach Mdina. However, the city is warded against them, against all non-humans, so someone must have let Hell's contingent in. Uriel is unconcerned. She has made arrangements to make them come to her.
Claire tries to urge the others to look for the book, but they want answers as to why she shut their means of information. Understandable. Claire is the only one searching when the body suddenly disappears and the demands grow. Finally, Claire admits she wasn't a person, she was a book character, and she was one of hers. She helped her escape and removed her from the records. Suddenly, a loud groan bucks the earth under Claire and Leto, and howls only they can hear rent the air. Uh-oh. Claire and Leto's ghost lights have gone cold. Hellhounds are coming from them. Yay, puppies. Despite the hellhounds being, relentless hunters who will ceaselessly go after them, they don't appear to be getting any closer. Ms. McAllister suddenly reappears and explains that they are stuck outside the city because of the Treaty of Medina. Excellent. This gives Claire time to explain what the heck is going on. I would get her to sit her ass down and she would not be moving until I'd be like, all the information.
When Claire was new to the library, she was mentored by Gregor, the librarian at the time. She found her unwritten books amongst the stacks and slowly became obsessed with visiting them, then touching them, until Miss McAllister, or Beatrice, appeared. At first, Claire kept her hidden, but then they devised a plan for her to escape. The plan went wrong, and Claire killed Gregor with words of power he'd only just taught her that unravels a soul. She became the head librarian then. Leto is disgusted that Claire is a murderer and runs off while the others have mixed emotions. After Beatrice came to Medina, she made a friend, and together they built the archive and recently acquired the book, and she had hoped Claire would come to retrieve it. Ignoring this, Claire asks if the city stops angels as well as hellhounds. Theoretically, yes, but if they were invited in by a resident, then they would be granted access just as Claire and her companions have been. This isn't good.
No. Brevity has run the inventory 3 times and everything in the library is accounted for. As a field muse, she knows imagination, and Aurora wasn't imagining hearing the sound she heard. Gathering her courage, Brevity goes to check the doors and finds the double doors to the arcane wing open. It's deadly silent inside, but there are horrors in the shadows. Brevity turns and runs back to the Unwritten wing and seals the library with wards. Something is outside. It's testing the wards, wanting to be granted entrance.
Now I can just imagine being in a real public library, and it's before the library opens for the day, and there's just patrons pulling on the doors trying to get inside. We're not open yet. Go away. Get
but I put the book on reserve.
Leto wanders the streets of Medina, but Claire is still able to find him. There is a lack of trust between them now. However, Claire isn't asking for trust, just for them to work together because she trusts him the most out of their little cohort. Leto agrees, and they return to Beatrice's, who is refusing to give up the book. Leto and Hero leave Claire and Beatrice to their standoff to raid the kitchen. Beatrice pulls out her book and asks Claire to fix it, and Claire agrees to, for a favor. As Claire works, Beatrice warns her about Hero. He's pretty on the outside, but Claire soon realizes the truth of Hero's nature. After a confrontation about their non-relationship where hurtful things are said, Beatrice finally gives Claire the other pages of the Devil's Bible. They were folded into the back pages of her book all along.
Obviously. Pages retrieved, it's time for them to leave, but Claire needs to confront Hero first. She finds him in the kitchen eating cake with Leto. Claire asks to see Hero's book and uses it to whack him upside his head. She wants answers and has neither patience nor inclination to ask nicely, and accuses him of being the villain of his book, which he doesn't deny. Instead, Hero starts threatening Claire and is willing to blackmail her about Beatrice and Gregor. Definite.
He's very clearly a villain. Whole time, he has never once acted heroic.
No.
Made me happy, that scene.
Anytime Claire does violence, I'm happy.
Andros reports that the angels are on the outskirts of Indina. There's an exit to the city, which only the locals know, but it's likely the Hellhounds will get them in the couple of minutes they need to run to the ruins and to the gate back to Hell. Andros begs Claire to stay in the city, to give him the pages and live a human life. Claire can't do that. She's the librarian. Leto, on the other hand, doesn't want to go back. He wants to stay and be human, and sadly Claire agrees to it. Only Claire and Hero run for it, and they are saved by Uriel before the Hellhounds can get them. However, standing next to Rami is Andros. This was his plan all along. He wants the power of the library to help his campaign back to power in Hell. Damn it.
Ex-Archduke of Hell? Yeah. Uriel announces they're all prisoners of heaven and they need to hand over the pages of the book. Rami touches Claire's elbow and a chill passes through her, making her forget what she is doing there and become bone-weary tired. Andros looks through Claire's pockets, but the pages aren't there. Yeah, she's given them to Leto, and he should be at the gate by now because they've managed to distract them all long enough. Surprise!
Woo!
Claire and Hero back up to the city wards while Uriel goes absolutely batshit crazy and pulls out her sword, and the Hellhound starts snapping as her hold loosens, but Rami holds them back. Suddenly, Claire and Hero are pulled back into Undina.
When things calm down, Rami confronts Uriel over her cruelty. Uriel claims that the pages are the only way to bring back the Creator. Everything is falling apart, and she and the rest of heaven want her home. Uriel orders Rami to track the humans while she will make preparations for Hell, since the pages seem to be headed there.
Leto is able to make it to the cave Claire told him would take him to the Realm Gate. Beatrice helped him find another exit to the city while Claire and Hero distracted the Hellhounds and Angels, but his guilt urges him to tell Beatrice to check the outer wards for the others. Leto continues into the dark catacombs, but is soon met by Andros, who knocks him down and takes the pages. Andros pulls out a gemmed dagger and cuts Leto, explaining that the dagger can consume a soul. He needs to send a message to Claire with the proper gravitas. She needs to stay away from the library.
Leto wakes up surrounded by Claire, Hero, and Beatrice. He's been cut up and his arm is broken, and confirms Andros was the cause. Eventually, they reach a pit filled with bones that they must pass through, the Realm Gate, and have no time to argue as they can hear the Hellhounds coming fast. Leto is first to go and wakes on the shore of a dead river. In the river, a monstrous-looking crocodile surfaces, and in their heads, the creature says, "Be judged." It doesn't answer Claire's questions, but she's able to work out that this must be the realm of a very old religion whose believers are gone. The creature opens its mouth, and inside is a scale with a pure white feather on one side. Claire knows the realm isn't Egyptian, but that it's possibly an offshoot religion where final judgment is the same. The crocodile creature tells them again, "Be judged." Claire, incensed, heads back to the Realm Gate, where she's met by Rami.
Rami clearly doesn't understand the workings of Hell and the danger of Andros being there with the pages. As far as he's concerned, demons belong in Hell, and the library is Hell. Ergo, there is no issue, but Claire challenges his apparent naivety. She also points out the angels have done nothing to prove she can trust them. Though she tries to strike a bargain, she will leave Leto behind if Rami grants her and Hero safe passage out. Unfortunately for Claire, she doesn't realise Leto and Hero are having an impassioned conversation behind her, which results in Leto stepping away toward the feather. When Claire spots Rami's expression and realises something is going on, she tries to stop Leto, but it's too late and he disappears. Claire blames Rami and promises to bring all of hell down upon him.
Brevity comes to inside the library. Damsels surrounding her, coming to complain about the loud creaking reverberating through the library. Brevity shoos the damsels back into their suite, and then a boom and creak rents the air. Something is trying to get in, but she is a muse filled with inspiration. Maybe she can create a monster of her own.
Ooh. Nothing is sitting well with Rami after watching Leto sacrifice himself. He is already dead and has been judged, so being judged again makes him become a lost soul, like the ones Rami used to work with many years ago. Rami returns to heaven and reports back to Uriel, advising what happened in the realm with the crocodile. Meanwhile, Uriel has maps spread out and is planning to invade hell. Uriel sounds crazed as she explains that instead of a piece of paper, she will present a whole new kingdom to the Creator when she returns. Calmly, Uriel dismisses Rami and says she will speak to the host when this business is finished. Before he leaves, Rami says he wants to rescue the lost soul Leto, and playing on Uriel's mania, he says Leto may be able to help them into hell. Uriel agrees.
Feeling rage at Leto's judgment, Claire and Hero cross the river over the crocodile toward the crumbling wall and into a labyrinth. Hero tries to explain to Claire why Leto did what he did, but it just makes her guilt worse. Eventually, they reach a set of stairs, which is unusual. Is it a way out, or, will it just take them to the inevitable creature living in the center of the labyrinth? Yeah. The only way to know is to climb up and find out. They come across an opening, and inside is a cottage in springtime. Hero's home.
Ooh, the juxtaposition. Ooh.
He spots someone he knows, Owen, but he was killed. Claire tries to reason with Hero, but he doesn't want to listen. Thankfully, after she begs, he does listen, and they move on. When they rest later, Hero admits he no longer hears the other characters in his book.
Oh.
No.
After a couple of hours sleep, Claire and Hero share some cakes taken from Beatrice's kitchen when Hero starts feeling strange and his stamp glows. It's the interworld loan. Hero is being pulled back to the library, leaving Claire alone. Hero demands Brevity send him back to Claire, but as they talk, the attack on the wards worsens. The first ward, the Dream Ward, is broken. Andres must be using the pages as weapons, burning them up. Hero asks what he can do. A snide comment by Hero about hiding with the damsels gives Brevity a plan. They head to the damsels' wing and she asks them to head to their books for their own safety, but they refuse. They're stronger outside their books and demand weapons. Hero congratulates Brevity on her inspirational trickery. Bravo, bravo.
Okay. After that really delightful segment, we need to insert a trigger warning here because there are mentions of suicide, and this chapter's pretty rough.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
But it's just one paragraph, that's it.
Right, just a few minutes. So if this is going to bother you potentially, just turn us down for a minute or so. Rami has gone in search of Leto's lost soul and found a bedroom in darkness with a human teenager curled up looking at a dozen pills lying on his bed. Leto feels guilty for the death of a friend who had suicidal ideations. One day, he snapped and told him to just do it. And his friend did. Rami reminds Leto he has other friends who need him now, like Claire. Leto recognizes Rami and remembers the library, but asks, Who's that old hipster dude in the corner with the tiger-striped hair and cold eyes? Rami can't see anything, but Leto literally just described Andros, like head to toe. Leto saw him before his death, too. Alarms start ringing for Rami. Andros has been planning his takeover of the library to reinsert himself as a power in hell for a long time. And he involved the human world.
Oh.
That's serious.
Okay, we're out of the rough bit. Together, Rami and Leto travel to Purgatory. Leto has forgiven himself and, as a now purified soul, doesn't belong in hell anymore, but he really wants to go back to the library. Rami relents, but tells Leto not to touch anything or he'll be forced to stay. Rami decides to go with Leto to make sure he remains pure, or really he just wants to help to stop Andros too. Rami and Leto have a moral debate, and the human bests the angel. But Rami is setting rules if he takes him back to the library.
Claire continues along in the labyrinth, wondering how Andros has been able to plot and plan so much, ultimately concluding Lucifer must know what is going on. Eventually, she comes across the exit, but it looks like it leads to Beatrice's office. Slowly, tiredly, she makes her way toward it before realizing the labyrinth is giving her what she wants. So in frustration, she throws her shoes at the office. Howling then vibrates all around Claire, and she realizes it's coming from the labyrinth's minotaur, who is standing in the middle of a courtyard. Surprisingly, when it speaks, it sounds like a familiar, overly dramatic, second-rate pirate. It's her friend Walter from the library.
Yay!
Yay! He's guarding the gate, and it turns out that he guards all the gates, which makes him death. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Who knew? Claire asks Walter to be sent to the library, but as her ghost light is extinguished, Walter has to eat her.
Wah, wah.
Womp womp. Well, that simply won't do. She could fight, but, that really wouldn't end well. Claire asks Walter what his weakness is, and because he's never been asked before and there are no rules against it, he tells her it's his eye, one of which is milky white while the other is brown. Walter apologises and charges, not really wanting to eat his friend, so Claire turns and runs. She finds a pillar and is able to climb. From her pockets she pulls out the book's calling card and the ghost light, sticking them together. Walter charges the pillar and Claire falls, tossing what is in her hand, and the ghost light calling card goes into Walter's mouth, causing the flames to lash from his nose, his ears, his mouth, and even his eyes before he passes out. Claire grabs the key around Walter's neck, but Walter points to his dead eye. Claire needs to use Walter's own claws to dig the eye out, which is the real gate key.
I don't think that Walter tried too hard to stop her from defeating him.
I think he did hold back, but I also like the idea of this crispy minotaur being like, oh no, it's the eyeball, it's the eyeball, and burping flames.
Yes. Rami literally walks into hell because the doors are open. It's very quiet for an invasion. Leto spots the library's gargoyle.
Can we take a moment? Can we please take a moment?
It's not a gargoyle. It's a grotesque. Everyone, we keep referencing the White Hot Kiss episode.
It's coming back and haunting constantly.
It's coming back.
But...
It's coming back again. We had a whole to-do with gargoyles versus grotesques, and this is actually a grotesque.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We need to be specific with these things.
Yes.
As librarians,
Jesus.
You have a duty.
Okay, so Leto spots the library's gargoyle, grotesque, stuck in an attack position, and as Leto is looking at it, light fills the hall and throws him back. The library's ward is still working. From the double doors, shouting can be heard, but it doesn't sound like a battle. Suddenly, Claire appears, looking dirty and tired, wearing lots of medallions, but no shoes. She instantly denies Rami access to the library. But then, she spots Leto. Rami intercepts before they can hug, since Leto can't touch anything in case it corrupts his soul. Claire asks Leto if he remembers being human, and he tells her yes. He remembers being called Matthew Hadley. Rami and Claire realize Leto is her grandson. But they don't say anything to him about it. There's no time for that now. Claire sorts through the medallions she pilfered from the arcane wing for something to help the gargoyle grotesque, but they weren't the only things she took. She pulls out the page that started this chaos.
Brevity and the damsels have been gathering weapons, reading unwritten war books, and constructing barricades. Badasses. Hero tells Brevity that she must not be found and retreats to the great stacks because Andres needs the acting librarian, so she listens and hides. The wards soon fall, and Hero and the damsels make their stand against Andres and his eldritch horrors. The damsels fight well, but the giant worms and the horrors are overwhelming. Brevity watches the damsels' books turn into their graves. Andres has Hero covered in cuts and ink and stabs him with a dagger in the thigh. Andres demands to know where Claire is, but realises he should actually be looking for Brevity.
Brevity steps forward. Andros is willing to accept her surrender, and she agrees if he doesn't hurt any more books. Andros is willing to concede, except for one book. One of Andros's horrors starts ripping Hero's book to pieces, when suddenly there's a loud boom before a temporary ward Andros set falls and the great library doors open. Behind the gargoyle grotesque is Claire, Rami, and Leto. Claire looks at the damage and registers Hero's wounds. Andros is disappointed with the hellhounds and orders his horrors to kill them. The gargoyle grotesque sweeps away some of the horrors before moving in to deal with the gigantic eldritch worm, while Rami faces the rest of the horrors and Andros makes a run for it. Arlid's freed ravens from the arcane wing attack more of the horrors, and a couple stop Andros from escaping, so he throws something which sets fire to the books. Brevity sets off the fire prevention system, stopping it instantly. Claire approaches Hero, and he gives her his sword, telling her to end this.
Claire goes deeper into the stacks, which is obviously a trap, and she's proven right a moment later. Andros is there, and Claire is disgusted that he has greased the rails for Leto to kill himself. Claire notices then that Andros is standing next to her books, and then he kills one book and tells Claire to step down. He kills another. Andros does his bad guy monologue and mocks Claire before flipping the dagger in his hand and lunging. Claire is no swordswoman and loses the weapon. On her knees, Claire begs for help, not from Andros, but the books, waking the library from a very long sleep. Andros backs up from the book horde. They don't care who or what he is, and they attack. Ironically, Andros begged Claire for help, but a ghostly, ageless, ancient woman appears from the dark behind Andros, and he disappears. Claire then faces the judgment of the library. She wants to serve the library to make amends.
Rami surveys the library, which looks more like a graveyard now. Hero is barely conscious. Arlid burns the eldritch horrors, and Brevity frantically tries to find Claire. With a pop, Uriel appears at the library doors and grabs Leto around the neck. The fact that Leto is a pure human soul means nothing to Uriel, so Rami draws his blade against her and demands she release Leto. As Uriel transforms into her seraphim appearance and Rami tells human Leto to look away from the angel's true form, behind him, Rami hears a weary voice say, "Rule number 23, no fighting in the library." I feel like that should be like closer to the top of the list.
I think like it might be like don't burn the books, return books that are borrowed. I want to know what rules 1 to 22 are.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I feel like this one should be higher up in the list, though.
Well, if we know what the rules are, we could reorder them and we could stick them in your library.
We should. That would be hilarious.
Claire looks at Uriel directly and orders the seraphim out of the library because the library is closed. But Uriel refuses to leave and refuses to listen, so Claire speaks words that unmake the seraphim. She was warned the library was closed. Oh, I bet you wish you had that power.
I do.
Rami is shocked that Claire just unmade Uriel, even if it's only for like a decade or two, and that she is able to look directly at the seraphim and remain unharmed. Claire asks Rami if he needs to file a report, and he says he could, help start a war. Or he could just say, Uriel's delayed.
Well, it's not a lie.
It's not a lie. It's just going to take a decade or two for them to get back. I mean, she's going to be pissed, but,
Claire turns to survey the chaos. She thanks Arlid, who she now owes a favor to. Turning to Rami, Claire asks if he will be taking Leto, though she already knows the answer. Surprising her, Rami asks if he can return once he's dropped Leto off because he wants to discuss things, and she agrees. They say their goodbyes to Leto, promising he always has a place at the library.
Sitting down, Claire sets to repair Hero's book. There are so many books to be repaired, so many have been destroyed and turned to graves. Claire asks Brevity to repair her books. Rami returns, confirms Leto has passed through the pearly gates with flying colours. He notices Andros's gemmed dagger and asks if she caught all of him in it and how she did it. Claire tells him that Andros made a fatal error. He angered the library. A demon at the door interrupts them. Malthus, Lucifer's second in command, who has come to see the pages from the Devil's Bible.
Claire neither confirms nor denies the pages still exist, just tells Malthus the library is secure and Lucifer's secrets are safe. Malthus picks up the gemmed dagger and calls it a useless weapon, but a trophy. However, Claire points out it's an artifact of the arcane wing, regardless of it now housing a demon. And until a new arcanist is appointed, Claire will keep the artifacts safe. Malthus looks at Claire then and accuses her of stealing from her army. Andros was hers, as were the fallen horrors and worms, so it falls to her to name its successor. Claire won't have another demon, but suggests Rami, which is interesting, but Malthus has another person in mind. Claire. Malthus has heard the grievances of the books that Claire failed to protect and says that the library chooses its librarian, Brevity, who Claire knows will make an admirable librarian.
It takes a few days to finish fixing Hero's book and to set the library mostly right, and Claire feels comfortable enough to leave for the arcane wing. Hero goes with her. It's nice and gloomy there for him too. The arcane wing changes to match its arcanist, but Claire still thinks of it as Andros's space until Hero encourages her to clarify it.
Wah, wah.
Claire remembers the golden glow of the library and the hot tea and decides she won't recreate it in the arcane wing, but will make it something adjacent, something warm and inviting. The arcane wing transforms. It's accepted its new arcanist.
End of book 1.
Ooh. Of 3.
Everyone take a break and listen to whatever I stick in this blank spot.
It could be a promo for our 300th episode.
It could be. Maybe that will just be it every single time until the 300th episode comes and goes.
Who can say?
Who can say?
Amanda
I can say. I have the power.
She does the power, yeah.
Hey everyone, can you believe that Fictional Hangover is about to have its 300th episode?
We're going to celebrate with a live episode.
Join us on Sunday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. GMT.
Keep an eye on our socials for more information.
Unless you're listening to this episode after the fact, then you should have already listened to it. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Question mark? There are so many things for librarians to enjoy about this book.
Yaha.
But can I tell you one of the things that I enjoyed the most that doesn't actually have anything to do with the library part of it?
Okay.
Seattle was accurately described.
I'm so pleased. I was genuinely worried.
I loved it. I loved it so much. And like as they were traveling and, you know, the calling card is changing and telling them where to go next, like, I know which neighborhood they're in. I know where they are. That's Pioneer Square. I know it. I can tell because of the description, because it's real, because it's accurate. Oh, they're going down to the pier? Oh, wow. Made me really happy.
I'm so glad.
Made me really happy.
I think it's possibly the first accurate description of Seattle we've ever read.
Well, I mean, that's where AJ Hackwith lives.
So I bloody well hope it will be accurate.
Right. Oh. But I got worried when, you know, they mentioned that they would have to go to Seattle. And I was like, oh, God. How long is it going to take them to get there? Is it going to be pouring down rain? Did, like, Stephanie Meyer influence this? No, it was perfect.
No, reality influenced it.
It was perfect.
Real life experience was on the page.
You can tell she's actually been there. It was amazing.
I'm so happy for you.
It's like
there's so much in this book to give you joy.
I know.
And they don't even spend that much time in Seattle either.
They don't.
So you've been to Seattle in the book. I've been to Malta.
Nice. Accurate?
So there's, yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of description.
No, and to be fair, that's pretty much how I would describe Malta. It's not my favourite place I've ever been in the world. It was, you know, I know people who've gone out every year for holidays. It was fine. I was only really there for a day. But I've been to Medina. We did a tour of the island because you can. It's that small.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, pretty accurate. It's very flat. It's very quiet. It's very old. So yeah, it was accurate. Lots of tourist buses. So yeah, it's like you can tell the author has like done research.
Oh my God.
And has accuracy. It's exciting.
God. It's amazing.
It's like she correctly cites her sources.
I know.
It's beautiful.
It's so good.
It's so pretty.
Do you know what else I loved?
The hippo wearing a hat. No, that didn't happen.
Hippo wearing a hat. I really appreciated the hero's not a hero, but he was just going along with it. It's 100% a villain.
Oh, this is gonna link to my surprises.
Okay.
I wasn't surprised by anything.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like, oh, this is hero, and he's tall and handsome and brooding, and
like look at his cheekbones. You can tell he's a hero. Like
yeah. And the fact that he breaks up with his author, And it's like, would a hero do that? He does nothing heroic.
Not at all.
He acts like an arsehole. He's a lovable asshole.
He is a lovable asshole. He is. And I loved him.
They just assume it's hero. And it's like, he's not. He's a villain.
No, and I just wanted to take out books, where we have recently fallen in love with the villains. And be like, look, they're also handsome. They have striking cheekbones too.
Yes. All of those books that we're talking about, though, I recently just loaned them to my mum so she can enjoy the striking cheekbones.
Yay.
But yeah, I only read the first time when I started doing it and I had to put it down for other things, up to the point where they had quote-unquote rescued hero. So I had never even left Seattle yet. So even then I'm like, he's not a freaking hero.
He's not a hero.
He's not a hero.
He's not. He's a bad guy.
Oh, look. He is my mentor. He's a demon and an ex-Archduke of Hell who, raised a rebellion against Lucifer. Yeah. Come on, love.
What?
Really?
What?
Really? Do you think he's going to be your friend the entire time?
What?
I would be more surprised if Andros didn't betray you. Like, even the damsels, when the damsels step up and they're like, nah, bitch, this is our home.
Yeah,
we're defending it. We're not going back into our books because our books are boring as F and we are out here and we're going to fight. It wasn't surprising. It was just brilliant.
I was, kind of surprised. Not really, though, but kind of surprised that, Leto gets mad at Claire, being a murderer and killing her boss to take the job as a librarian to help her book character escape. But, she's in hell. So clearly she's not an angel. She's not the best person.
No, but he's already been told that your soul's guilt is what places you.
Yeah.
So it was only the guilt over his friend and the twisting that Andros performed in his mind that caused him to go down to hell. Otherwise he would have gone to heaven. And, so it's the soul's guilt. So I can understand why he's like, hang on, you're a murderer. And especially because he's just witnessed Claire reaching into Hero's pocket, pulling out a pistol and shooting Beatrice in the throat.
Such a good scene.
Completely unprompted, which is one of my favourite scenes in the entire book. Mm-hmm. But he's just seen that she is not adverse to violence.
Yeah.
So I can imagine him being disgusted and thinking, actually, yeah, you are a murderer. I've seen the evidence is there that you are a murderer.
Yeah.
So I can get it, but yeah, I'm not particularly surprised by a lot of the things because pop culture has made it so I'm not. Rami is basically Castiel.
Yes.
So of course he's going to be straight-laced, do what he's told until he realises what he's being told is absolute bullshit and he should stop listening to them.
Yeah.
Of course Uriel is going to be an absolute Fruit Loop who needs to be stopped. Of course Andros is going to be the bad guy. Of course Bjorn's going to have the calling card for the Devil's Bible. Of course Beatrice is going to have the pages there.
Yeah.
It's just, of course this stuff's going to happen. But I don't mind that. Yeah. Because I think, and this kind of links into what you were saying in the background information, that, AJ Hackwith is kind of putting those stories to the page. And she's used a lot of tropes. Then she's put them all there into a very lovely and brilliant, coherent story. Mm. And yeah, there might be stereotypes, and yeah, it might be predictable, but actually she's done it in a very unique way for me, in a very, engaging way. So it doesn't bother me that I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
the creator, Uriel is female as well, great.
Yeah.
And the creator is female. I have seen Jane, Silent Bob, I've watched Dogma. I know Alanis Morissette is the creator. So Not surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we've also
Off-pin skee ball.
seen Constantine, and we know that Gabriel is also female.
Yeah.
I do like that. And we've all seen Supernatural, in which many angels take many forms
Exactly.
by filling up, vessels. You know what I wasn't surprised by?
What?
That God has disappeared.
Because God's gone to play skee ball. And is currently lying in a New Jersey hospital. After being beaten up by some demons.
Yep.
Because I've seen Dogma.
Oh, now I'm just thinking about Alan Rickman being smooth.
Alan Rickman.
I know. Do you know what is, I think, actually my favorite part of the entire book?
Every act of violence performed by Claire.
Yes. And Seattle being accurate.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the battle getting into Valhalla, where they have to fight with book quotes. That was awesome.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to throw a book quote at you, and you have to name the author in the book. Like, that's so great. I would be horrible at it.
Oh, completely. 110%.
But I love it.
Do you know, if I had written that scene, and I think you would probably do the same, I would not be going for like T.S. Eliot and Shakespeare. And, I wouldn't be going for those names.
No.
I'd be going for like some really obscure stuff. I'd be throwing in some swearing from Jackson Fold.
Yeah, straight up.
It's straight up.
It is not a battle of book quotes. It's a battle of favorite final thought quotes.
It is. It will be a battle of favorite final thought quotes. Like I would even like to throw you off. I'm going down the Regency smut route as well.
Oh yeah, you'd kill me. I'd be
just
dead.
to wipe you out. Exactly. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But you could do the same with Stephen King, and I'd be like, So yeah, we have our strengths.
We do.
But yeah, I think I would love to do, and that could be quite fun.
Yeah.
Book quote battle for our 300th episode.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And it has to be based on our favourite final quotes.
Yes.
That's going to be so hard, though. We're going to really embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, we
but
really
it'll be
are.
really funny.
We really, really are. But that also reminds me of that mug that is in our Redbubble shop that's full of our favorite final thought quotes from previous seasons. So I feel like I need to make an episode 300 version of it that has updated favorite final thought quotes.
We really should have one for every season, realistically.
We really should. That's a good idea.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Maybe I'll spend some time in the next couple of weeks recreating the mug.
Have a whole set on the shelf.
Yep.
That'd be really cool.
Yep, it would be. I love it. I'm doing it. 100% I'm doing it. That's
nice.
Also like my dream though of the eventual tattoos that I will have on both arms, both shoulders, quotes. Everybody that I care about, I need your favorite final thought quote in your own handwriting tattooed upon my person. That's what I want.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. One day it will happen. Can I tell you something that I find I'm disappointed in myself? I was taking notes as I was listening to the audiobook, like I normally do, because I'm often listening to the book, but then we also have the ebook version checked out as well. Typically we have both of them checked out from a library.
And we didn't this time.
I know. But I just assumed that we did have. And so when I know that I'm listening to the audiobook, but we have access to the ebook, I won't put my favorite final thought quotes in, like, I won't pause the book and write it out fully. I'll just, like, put a couple of words together. Like, I know that these words are said in this order, and then I can go back and search the text.
Yes,
Didn't do
I
that this time.
Exactly the same thing.
Didn't do that this time. But then I also have a note, and I do not know what it means. I don't remember this section, this happening. There are a couple places where I feel like it could happen, but I have a note that says, "What is the diabetes joke?" I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I've put a hold on the ebook so I can go back and search for it later. What is the diabetes joke? What does that mean?
No, I do not remember. I mean, there's not even any point in me picking up the book.
No, and I have a physical copy of the book too, and so I was flipping through it. I was thinking maybe it has something to do with Leto and Hero and the little Debbie cakes. Yeah, so I thought, okay, well, that happens, and so I flipped to that section, and I was just trying to, skim through it. Didn't find it. But truth be told, I didn't look too hard because, we'll come back to it later. When the ebook arrives, I will search for diabetes and hopefully find it.
Oh, that's...
What is the diabetes joke?
Well, I found the Medina's pages.
I don't know what it is.
I really do like this cover, by the way.
I like my cover.
I don't understand the arm, though.
Well, it's a character coming out of the book.
Yeah.
I like it. Have we covered everything? Is it time to move on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what are your thoughts about Claire being, made the arcanist instead of retaining the librarian position at the end?
Well, I mean, if she broke the rules of the library and the library gets to choose, I think I'm fine with it. And I don't feel like, she was fired or anything. She's just moved on to something else. And I feel like it's maybe going to be important in future books.
Oh,
I
definitely.
don't know because I haven't read it, but
No.
I have a feeling that something very important is going to happen, and it's key for her to be in the arcane wing at the time.
I agree, and I think it's helpful that she is the arcanist and Brevity is the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
It means that the power's together now instead of
the
separate.
villain being involved.
The villain, yes. Oh, I also like the fact that Claire is pansexual as well.
Mm-hmm.
And considering... when was this book?
2020?
2020?
2019?
Yeah. That it was before people probably... I mean, it was probably around the time when people start realising that the world's just, it's not just gay, straight and bi. There are massive amounts. And it's not really anything made a big thing about. But
no,
Claire,
it's not
in the book,
thing.
is born in the 40s.
Yeah.
And she was just accepting that, oh, well, man, woman, doesn't matter. It's just,
yeah,
the person.
Oh, because it's a thing that no one should be surprised about. It just exists. It just
been there
is.
for absolutely freaking forever. So just can we move on from it? We don't need. Doesn't matter. And I really just appreciated that. It was just there and nothing really happened.
Yeah, but that's one of our favorite things that happens in a lot of the books that we read.
Yeah, I found the bit with the cakes.
We can research it later. We've got to move on. We've got other things to discuss.
That is very true. Don't really say anything. You want just 25 and 26. Chapters 25 and 26.
Yeah.
We've kind of covered that. We've got... Oh, shoot. Being attacked by everything. No surprises.
Yeah.
But what are my favourite characters?
Hero.
I mean, yeah, of course.
I also liked Rami quite a bit.
Is it because it's basically Castiel?
Yes. Yes. What about you?
I can see that. I didn't mind. I preferred Rami later on when he actually started realising, stop being an asshole.
Yeah.
I like brevity. I really like brevity. I like the fact that she made sure that she was perky on purpose because she knew Claire needed it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that her inspiration was basically these kind of like tattoos on her arm that she could peel off, which is also kind of creepy at the same time.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I feel like you can also relate to brevity a little bit, where you work with someone for so long and then all of a sudden you're given the responsibility and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. And
you just, the imposter syndrome is real, the lack of confidence is real, but she steps up.
Yeah.
Yeah. She steps up to save that library and she deserves to be the head librarian.
Yeah, she does.
And I really like the damsels.
Damsels were fantastic.
The amount of times that we'll say it's the side characters that make a book.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet the damsels. I want to sit and watch a movie with them and eat popcorn with them. I just think the damsels are amazing and I love them.
Yes. Definitely.
And the fact that they're like, yeah, we're not just going to retreat into our book. It doesn't matter if that would be the quote-unquote safe thing to do. We're going to fight for our home. Yeah. And our home is the library. And I'm like,
yes. And then they spend time like in the background reading unwritten war books. Like, it's amazing.
I need that montage.
Yes.
The making weapons, reading unwritten war books and making barricades. That is a montage we need.
Yeah, and I also feel like there will be like the moment where they're all like in the mirror, putting on their war paint, or some of them might be just making themselves pretty, because that's what they feel like they need. But yeah, I can see it. I can see it happening.
Yeah, exchanging those like glittery stiletto heels for combat boots and some stuff.
Yes. But then someone else puts on the stilettos because that's what they would wear to war. That's what they would fight in.
That's what they're comfortable with, exactly. Yep. Yeah, completely, 110%.
I love it. So good. Now is it time?
Now it's time. It's definitely time. Time. We asked on social media, would you rather fight with quotes or fight with weapons? 66% on Facebook said weapons. 71% on Instagram said quotes, so we know how the Bookstagram people are. And on TikTok, it was 62% weapons. BookTok, you've let yourselves down.
You really have.
Claire on Facebook said weapons. I love book quotes, but my memory is rubbish and I would forget every quote when needed.
Probably same, Claire. Colin on Facebook says, I am a dire wolf, prey stalking, lethal prowler. I am a hunter, horse mounted, wolf stabbing. I am a horsefly, horse stinging, hunter throwing. I am a spider, fly consuming, 8-legged. Give me book quotes and I'll never lose the oldest game. I am hope. Beautiful.
Katrina on Facebook said, I'm not a violent person, so I'm going to say book quotes as long as I can physically bring them with me. Otherwise I'll forget them. And it will just be me stumbling over lines and apologising, asking to start again and then paraphrasing. Also, Katrina, I'm all for you doing that. I don't mind. But we can see the book and the author's name on the cover.
Just cover it up. Just,
If you need to cover that up.
Yeah. Or bring an ebook.
Yes. Bring an ebook with pre-highlighted quotes from several books.
Bring your favorite final thought quotes mug with you. Because the text is pretty small on there. You probably wouldn't be able to read it, across a battlefield.
Exactly. You're fine. You're fine.
Yes. Candace on Facebook says, I don't know enough quotes, so I'll go weapons. LOL.
And Brie on Facebook said, metal weapons because I cannot memorise quotes reliably and would die of using dull paraphrases.
And finally, Crinoline the Frog on Threads said, dang, I missed the vote, but it's definitely book quotes. I will wield my Jane Austen quotes like a witty sword. And she will probably take you down.
She will take you down. I don't know. It's so difficult.
I love the idea of a book quote battle, but like Claire in the book, I need to bring my notes.
Oh, I need my notes.
I need my notes. If I can have my notes, heck yes. If I can bring my Fictional Hangover favorite final thought quote mugs, the collection, all 6, collect them all.
The ones that are available at redbubble.com.
Yes. Or will be available soon.
Yeah. Well, there's one of them there. So
there is one. Yeah. If I can have my notes, I will book quote battle. It just sounds like so much fun.
I think it sounds absolutely hilarious.
Especially the way we would do it.
Lives, and we were doing the grab a book. And
yes, that game was so fun. Bring your own book. And then you have to find quotes. Maybe we should bring that back too.
That might be fun for episode 300.
Yes. Or maybe we just have an episode 300 and then we hang out with everyone who comes to episode 300 afterward and play games. Like that time we played TKO.
We could record us playing games and that could be a bonus episode to go with episode 300.
Yes.
So people aren't obliged to watch it, but it would be too fun not to watch it.
Yes. Could be fun.
You are obliged to watch it.
Yes.
But not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but yes.
But no, but yes. Yeah.
I'm with you. If I can bring my notes, I want to do book quotes. But Bjorn the Bard was like, no notes.
But he also cheated.
They both cheated.
They are Hell's librarians, though, so.
But that is a good point. If I'm Hell's librarian, I'm bloody doing the quotes. I'll know all of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw it. I'm going to do the quotes.
Okay.
I'll die, but I'm going to do the quotes.
Sure. Okay. This brings us to our next question. Would you rather be Hell's librarian or Hell's arcanist?
Oh, now you see, I really want to be Hell's librarian, but also Hell's arcanist and being in charge and having access to all that really cool shit. I mean,
you be the arcanist and I'll be the librarian, and we can be like Claire and Brevity, and we can be besties, and we can,
yeah, let's do that. Let's agree to do that, because there's going to be daggers and spells and ducks and hippos wearing hats.
Yeah, there's going to be so much stuff in there.
There's going to be a pen that can do something cool, and I want to know what that pen that can do something cool, and a really ornate looking clock that you would think has some really cool time spell on it, but it's probably it just keeps brilliant time.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Okay,
good.
Right, okay. Done. We've sorted. We'll work on the job descriptions later.
Sure.
Would you rather travel by Arled's ravens or Death's eyeball?
Well, I mean, I love the eyeball. I love the eyeball scene. And he's like, no, it's not the key. It's the eyeball. Take the eyeball out. And she's like, oh. And then she uses his own claws to pull his eyeball out. Like, yes. That's amazing.
Yeah. Arled's raven sounds like for all the fact you're digging out Death's eyeball from the Minotaur head with its own claws, which does sound gory and a lot of work. I would rather do that than chase after Arled's ravens.
Yeah, and also you have to give something up. I mean, you'll get it back, but you have to give away a treasure, and there is
if you can catch it quick enough,
right? There's the chance that you might not be able to catch up to the raven.
And at least with Death's eyeball, I've basically got the master key. I've got the skeleton key to all the realms. So I'll go and party in Valhalla.
Yeah.
And then move on somewhere else that's go to Greg's for the recovery hangover.
Sure. Or Waffle House if you're
Or a
in
Waffle
the
House.
United States.
Exactly. Or both, because, you know, I've
You've
got
got
the
the key.
eyeball.
Yeah.
I've got the eyeball, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the realm of nice, soft, cosy beds and nice naps.
Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect.
I'm not seeing a downside to this. I want Death's eyeball.
Not at all. Yeah, definitely. Okay. This one might be tough.
Okay.
Would you rather use the soul-destroying power word on Andras or Uriel?
As tempting as it is to say Andras, I'm going with Uriel.
Same. We need to take
Uriel,
that bitch down.
That bitch needs to be put down.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta slap a bitch.
Sometimes you gotta slap a bitch.
Soul-destroying power word.
Yeah. And I don't want it down for decades. I want her down forever.
Yeah. Ugh, it's the worst. And she just kept getting more horrible as the book went on.
You could feel, like, from the book, you could feel the mania increasing tenfold every single time.
Yeah.
And that's even from the beginning of Rami's first paragraph to the end of Rami's first chapter, not paragraph. That first chapter was like, oh, she shit crazy.
She bonkers.
You're that archangel, the one who basically wants to take everything over, and then, you know, create an entire kingdom for the creator because you're so desperate and you want your mummy. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
You're that crazy.
Yeah.
There's crazy that can be saved, and there's crazy that needs to be put down, and that bitch needs to be put down.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, Andres, womp womp, you failed twice.
Yeah.
Twice. I'm taking your dagger and I'm putting you in the arcane wing.
Yeah. But, like, I wouldn't even want to put it somewhere nice and, like, on display. Just, like, throw it in the corner somewhere where no one will ever look for it.
I'm going to put it in a box, and it's going to be a really ratty box.
Yeah.
With, like, you know, old receipts. You know, stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
Bits of wire.
Yeah.
Plugs that don't work.
An old battery.
An old battery. A mobile phone. Like one of those Nokia 3310 brick phones.
Yes.
The ones that, realistically, we all wish we still had.
Exactly.
You know, in there. But on the box, in crayon, I'm just going to write loser.
Ooh, yeah.
And then,
you know,
go in the junk drawer.
When you said, you know, put him in a box, the way you said it, I thought that you were going to put the box inside of another box and then mail that box to yourself, and then when it arrives, you smash it with a hammer. I thought that's what you were going to say.
That's the other option.
Right.
That's the anniversary edition.
Okay, good.
Right, while we're talking about anniversary edition,
Uh-huh.
would you rather go drinking in Valhalla or sightseeing in Medina?
I'm going to go sightseeing. As fun as Valhalla seemed, and I don't see myself, you know, drinking flagons of mead.
Oh, mead gets really sickening after a while. I did get drunk once off mead at a medieval Christmas party in a castle, which was very fun.
Yeah.
But, like, you would die because it's so sweet.
Yeah. And I don't want to do that.
No.
So I'll go sightseeing.
I am going to go sightseeing as well in Medina, even though Malta's not like my favourite place in the world. I think I need to give it a second chance.
Yeah.
And I really do love old and historic places. I love just wandering and knowing that this place has been around for like thousands of years.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, fantastic. Oh, Rome is just beautiful. Like, oh, you just feel the history.
Yeah.
And you did in Malta, but Malta's just so touristy as well.
Yeah.
But I think I'd give Medina another try.
Okay. Well, let's go together.
More than just an hour or two. You know, I'll give it an actual, honest to God try.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Favorite final thought quote.
Which of these is going to end up in a mug? I'm going to give you 4.
Okay.
But I'm also going to play a little bit of a game of... one of them is real life or book.
Okay.
I'll do that one last.
Okay.
It's the first one. No story is insignificant.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which I really like.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just a story like a book. It's your own personal story. It's your life.
Yes.
No one is insignificant. And
Yeah.
I think some people need to be told that.
Yeah.
The spoken word was the first kind of library after all. Which really resonated. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have put that quote in my...
it would have been so good.
dissertation. That would have been amazing.
It would have
on
been really
audiobooks,
good.
and I'm
It would have been really good.
gutted, but no demon felt quite right. But there was something exceptionally off about Hellspawn with anxiety. I think I know Hellspawn with anxiety.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
It might be me.
I was thinking me, but whatevs. Okay, let's play a game of real life or book.
Okay.
Claire lived by the firm moral philosophy that no one could ever have too many pockets, too many books, or too much tea.
I think that is your actual true life philosophy.
It is.
I
mean, I would also
is.
potentially even add cheese on there.
Sure.
But yeah. But you'd be wrong. It's from the book.
Oh,
Oh.
you struck me down with a book quote.
Ah. I will also give you a freebie. Balls, Claire muttered. I said that so many times today, so I'm getting that one as a bonus.
Real life or a book? Real
life
life.
or book?
Both.
Both. What's yours?
I feel like I have a lot. How many do I have this time? Oh, no, just 4. They're just long. I have long ones. Let's see. Which do I start with? He said something about, you know who, Leto said. Lucifer's our ruler, not a dark wizard, Leto. You can say his name, Claire muttered. Yes. That's so good. Stories are, at the most basic level, how we make sense of the world. It doesn't do to forget that sometimes heroes fail you when you need them the most. Sometimes you throw your lot in with the villains.
Yes, real life or book.
War has always followed libraries, my apprentice. History has made no effort to hide that truth from us. Look at Rome. Look at the Crusades. Vanquishing an enemy and taking his books was just as strategic as taking his cannons. Books are knowledge weaponized, and what weapons you cannot steal, you must burn. Mm. And then finally, what? Betrayal? Enemies? Certain death? I'm not a hero, remember? The bravery was just for show. All I have left is weaponized wit and my good looks. I love you, hero.
He has so many good lines.
So good. Okay. If you liked this, try this. What are you going to suggest?
Well, I had a good think about this, and there are actually quite a few books that involve libraries that are good.
Yes.
But there's a series that Colin was talking to me about that he absolutely adores, to the point where he may be getting very special editions for Father's Day. So I'm going to recommend them.
Okay.
And it's by Mark Lawrence, and traditionally Mark Lawrence is an adult author, but actually the series is YA. And it sounds really, really good.
Okay.
And the first 2 are out now. The third one is going to be out, I can't remember, sometime soon, but there is the third one coming out. And the book, it's called The Book That Wouldn't Burn.
Okay.
And it's called The Library Trilogy.
Aww.
Hey! The summary's from Goodreads. A boy has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library older than empires and larger than cities. A girl has spent hers in a tiny settlement out on the dust where nightmares stalk and no one goes. The world has never even noticed them. That's about to change. Their stories spiral around each other, across worlds and time. This is a tale of truth and lies and hearts and the blurring of one into another. A journey on which knowledge erodes certainty, and on which, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and cities burned. And Mark Lawrence is absolutely freaking amazing. And the fact he's turned his hand to YA,
That's nice.
he does some of the best lovable assholes and just straight up bastards as well. So it sounds like it's going to be a good one. And awesome. There may be the odd chiseled cheekbone.
Oh, indeed.
What have you got?
Well, I'm breaking my own rule that I shared a couple of weeks ago. How I don't really like to talk about stuff that we've already talked about, but I just...
No, that's me. That's always me.
I just kept feeling reminded of this book series that we've covered. And also, I mean, it's by one of the best authors that we know. So I'm going to suggest Spells Trouble by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. Because, I mean, God, I just love PC so much.
That makes a lot of sense, though. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so here's the summary, even though you can go back and listen to the episodes, all the episodes about it, and the bonus episodes with PC, and I think Kristen was involved in one, or maybe that was back in... No, she was there. She was there multiple times, too. So, anyway, go back and listen to those episodes, but here's the summary. Hunter and Mercy Goody are twin witches, direct descendants of the founder of their town of Goodyville. As their ancestors have done before them, it is now time for the twins to learn what it means to be gatekeepers, the protectors of the gates to different underworlds, ancient portals between their world and realms where mythology rules and nightmares come to life. When their mother becomes the first victim in a string of murders, the devastated sisters vow to avenge her death. But it will take more than magic to rein in the ancient mythological monsters who've infected their peaceful town. Now, Hunter and Mercy must come together and accept their destiny, or risk being separated for good. So the whole scene with the crocodile and the scales in his mouth, and Claire's like... Where are we going? I hope it's Duat. I hope it's Duat. I hope we're going to Duat. And I was like, yes, oh my God. And then that happens and Spells Trouble. Like, I don't know. It just made me happy. So.
No, I agree. I like it. And if you get a Death's Eyeball, you can go to Duat and visit the library there. Exactly.
Yes.
Not seeing a problem here.
No.
Do we have a new and indie spotlight this week?
We do have a new and indie spotlight this week. And this book comes out June 4th. And I actually will just back up and grab the ARC that I got.
It's a very pretty cover.
It is. It's called The Wren in the Holly Library. And it's by K.A. Lind. And it comes out June 4th. So, very soon.
Yeah.
Can you love the dark when you know what it hides?
Oh, good opening.
Some things aren't supposed to exist outside of our imagination. 13 years ago, monsters emerged from the shadows and plunged Kiersey's world into a cataclysmic war of near total destruction. The New York City she knew so well collapsed practically overnight. In the wake of that carnage, the Monster Treaty was created, a truce of sorts. But tonight, Kiersey, a gifted and fearless thief, will break that treaty. She'll enter the Holly Library, not knowing it's the home of a monster. He's charming.
I just love cheekbones.
He has lovely cheekbones. He's quietly alluring. Terrifying.
Oh my God.
But he knows talent when he sees it. It's just a matter of finding her price. Now, she's locked into a dangerous bargain with a creature unlike any other. She'll sacrifice her freedom. She'll offer her skills. Together, they'll put their own futures at risk. But he's been playing a game across centuries. And once she joins in, there will be no escape. It's vaguely like a Beauty and the Beast sort of thing. So, I mean, it sounds amazing.
It sounds like a villainous guy with chiseled cheekbones, dark and brooding.
Yes.
So, of course, we're melting.
Yeah, of course. Of course we're swooning.
I'm quite happy that we've had this self-realisation of like, oh, damn, we do have a type. But that sounds really, really good. But it sounds like a very... It is obviously Beauty and the Beast, but it sounds like a good take on the Beauty and Beast story. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Yeah.
And I believe, I mean, it's from Red Tower. So
we do like Red Tower.
We do love a Red Tower book. And I believe that it's a little spicy.
Ooh.
So.
Ooh. I'm looking forward to reading that one then.
Yes.
Yes, that's on my TBR.
Okay. Well, that's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss If Found, Return to Hell by M.X. Liu. Look out for our Would You Rather polls and monthly challenges on social media. Don't forget about our book club on Discord. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover favorite final thought quote mugs. And other Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok and YouTube at Fictional Hangover. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.